Welcome to the Autopsy. Now this is a series where I will basically be taking one single thing that I believed in so truly that I basically lived by. And it can be literally anything with the gym, with diet, or just with health and fitness in general. And I will be breaking down completely why it was holding me back, why I wasn't getting any real results, and exactly how it was working against me the entire time. So I'm basically going to be laying out exactly what I did wrong, how long I did it for, why I thought that it was so correct in the best way possible, and then exactly how it was working against me the entire time. And every single episode will go over one specific thing. And for episode 1, we're gonna be starting with something that I defended so hard. I really was so proud of it and thought it was going to get me so far with my fitness journey and with my physique and literally just with every single thing in general. See, for multiple years, I tracked every single calorie down to the gram. I hit my macros, I hit my protein, my calories exactly every single day. I literally never missed a day, but I built like absolutely nothing. And no real muscle in any type of way, no fat loss that actually lasted, and no energy. Just years spent doing what I thought was right, what all of these bodybuilders were doing, but I had nothing to show for it. So for episode 1, we are going to be going over tracking calories and macros. All right, so let me show you how deep this actually went, because I need you to seriously understand I was not at all lazy about this. Like, I was constantly putting in the effort, constantly putting in the time and the discipline, not even close. Like, I was not at all lazy, but it just started the way it kind of starts for everyone. I'd estimate my portions, I'd kind of eyeball it here and there, just guess the serving sizes. I'd even track some of my calories or my protein in my calculator app. Like, I would just add it up at the end of the day to see how much I was eating. And after so long, I kind of realized like I could not estimate accurately at all. Because I wasn't getting any real results. So I kind of just blamed the inaccurate estimating. And I ended up buying a food scale. And once I had that scale, every single thing that went into my mouth got weighed. The chicken, the rice, the broccoli, the oats, the peanut butter, every single sauce, every single condiment, every single thing down to the gram. If I was eating it, it was on the scale and then in my calorie tracking app. And I literally logged everything. As you can see here, I ate almost the exact same amount of calories every single day, weighed out everything down to the gram. I never missed a day, didn't hit my protein target, didn't hit my carb target, fat target. I hit everything perfectly. My macros were like so dialed in. As you can see in this meal here, like I'm literally tracking everything. This is a chicken parm, I think, and it was pasta, it was red sauce, chicken, of course, and cheese. I weighed everything. The sauce, the pasta, the cheese, the chicken, every single thing. And here, these are 8 burritos. Every single one of these burritos was the exact same calories, the exact same macros. This took like 3 hours to cook everything, prep everything, and then weigh out everything for the week. And what I really need you to understand is that discipline was never a problem here. I never missed a day, and I was more consistent than literally anyone that I knew. While all of these other guys were just guessing and wondering how much they were eating or whatever, I was precise every day. Because at the end of the day, I truly believed completely that I just had to get the numbers right, or that I just had to stay consistent doing this calorie tracking and then the results would come. That was kind of like the promise that I had to myself. Track your calories, hit your macros, hit your protein, stay consistent over time, the physique will come. So that is exactly what I did, and I did it perfectly. But here is what the precision actually got me after years and years of putting that work in. I know it is very, very disappointing, and you know, I was very disappointed after so long of doing this, but I just kept telling myself I just needed to stay consistent with it. But as you can see, this is where that got me. See, physically, almost nothing changed at all. There was no real muscle, no fat loss that would actually stick around, and I was just constantly tired, constantly crashing, relying on fake synthetic caffeine and energy just to get through workouts, just to get through the day, to crash after. It was just terrible. I would crash every afternoon, feel just horrible throughout the day, and I just kind of thought it was part of the process. But then mentally, it was even worse. I thought about food constantly, and not like in a normal way, not like in a hungry way, but in like a math way. Not at all how you should be thinking about food. Every single meal that I had to log, I had to weigh out, I had to fit into the numbers of my day. I couldn't just eat what I wanted to eat. And if I didn't have my scale, or if I wasn't able to log something, I just kind of felt out of control. It was like consuming me mentally, and food stopped like being food. It became like anxiety and stress. It became something food should not at all be. And then this affected my confidence in so many different ways, because what actually happens when you do all of the right things but nothing changes, you don't at all just blame your methods or the strategies you're doing. You start to blame yourself. So that's exactly what I did. I started genuinely believing that all of the things that were going wrong were because of me. It was something that was wrong with me, and that all of these other people around me had like some crazy secret or just better genetics, and I was just not capable of getting where I wanted. And I kind of just thought that it was just something I wouldn't be able to fix. After multiple years of my life spent obsessing over my macros, obsessing over tracking every single calorie, being so perfect about it all, hitting my protein, carbs, fats every single day, I just spent all of this time obsessing over these numbers that at the end of the day mattered the absolute least. So the main thing that I really want you to get here is that I did not lack discipline. I did not lack effort. I wanted it so badly and was constantly putting the effort in. I had so much more discipline than anybody else that I knew around me. I was just applying all of it to the complete wrong approach. All right, so let me break down why everything actually failed, because once you understand this, it will just make a lot more sense to you. So basically, tracking calories and macros is all built into one single assumption that your body is just a simple math equation. And just hearing myself say that out loud, I can already understand, you should already understand how dumb that really sounds. A calorie is a calorie, and if you just control the numbers, if you get the math right every single day, you are going to control the outcome. That is basically what the belief is made off of. That is literally it. It is as simple as that, and that's what so many people you see all over social media are all talking about, that you can simply eat whatever you want as long as you're hitting your macros, hitting your calories, and getting your protein goal in. And this is why so many people stay hitting plateaus, stay not making results, stay feeling horrible, inflamed, holding on to fat. But this is not at all accurate. Please do not live based off this belief. So this is exactly what happens inside of your body when you track your calories and restrict yourself from eating for such a long time. So starting at the top, when you are first getting into that calorie restriction or just cutting calories to hit your target, hit your goal, you're now in a deficit, and your body will notice this so much faster than you think. It doesn't at all see a diet or anything like that. It just sees less food coming into your body, and it starts paying attention to that and then even adapting to it. So then the sustained restriction is going to drive your cortisol up, which is basically your stress hormone. And at the same time, that is going to then suppress your testosterone. Now, literally just think about that for a second. Testosterone is the exact hormone that you need to build more muscle and burn more fat. And the thing that you are doing to try to get lean is shutting all of that down, is making it so that can't even happen effectively. So then you basically move into this section where your body is now adapted to it. It is smart. Your body is built to survive. So it downshifts your metabolism. It starts burning less to match that lower calorie intake. And then that deficit that was working a month ago stops working because your body is adapting to it and adjusting to it. That's why you will maybe lose a little bit of fat at first, but it's nothing that will actually be sustained or work in the long term. So then you get to this part down here and you just hit a wall. You hit a plateau and it's just nothing that makes sense to you. You're eating less than ever. You're training so hard, putting in the effort constantly, hitting every single number, and nothing is actually moving. The scale's not moving. The mirror's not changing, and that is exactly how it was for me for multiple years. Please do not spend such a long time like I did in this phase. It is a horrible feeling, constantly putting the effort in, but knowing you're not really getting anywhere. Eating less, training harder, doing everything right how you thought was right, and still staying stuck, having no clue why. So this is the entire chain right here. You gotta understand this. And here's the part that finally broke the entire thing open for me, and what kind of just made it make so much more sense to me. Look at these two sides. It is completely different. See, on the left is protein powder, synthetic energy drinks. I mean, this meal isn't completely terrible, but it's just like, if you understood where I was at and how I thought about dieting, this was not at all good. And this side just really shows how I was living constantly. Energy drinks before the gym, a bunch of protein powder after the gym, the same meals every single day, rice, chicken with some horrible sauce all over the chicken, and then broccoli. But then on the right side, you see the way that I am now, of course, eating all of these optimal foods, all these foods that are actually going to fuel my body, fuel my hormones, fuel my testosterone. And you see, to your calorie tracking app or your food scale, these could be the exact same. Macro-wise, protein-wise, calorie-wise, it could be the exact same. But these two things are going to do an entirely different thing for your body, for your testosterone, for your hormones, and then for your results. Your body sees a completely different thing here. One is going to spike your blood sugar, drive inflammation, destroy your gut microbiome, and is going to do nothing for your hormones. Of course, the left side. And then the other side is going to give your body the actual raw materials to produce that testosterone, those hormones. And then, yes, of course, this is the right side. Your body does not at all count calories. It responds to the hormonal signals that you are giving it. That is the entire thing. And for multiple years, I was just counting while my body was responding to something I was never even actually measuring. So like I said down here, one is going to fuel your hormones, fuel your testosterone, and give your body what it actually needs to build. The other disrupts your gut, drives inflammation, and then leaves your hormones with nothing. But so after 3 years, I did something that honestly really scared me. I completely stopped. And at first, that was a crazy change to me because this is all I knew. Tracking everything, measuring out all of my food, knowing exactly what was going into my body. But I deleted the app. I put the scale away. Zero tracking, zero logging, zero numbers of any sort like that. Just cold turkey after multiple years measuring out everything that went into my body. And I'll be completely real with you, at first, this was like very terrifying because I felt like I no longer had control over my body, no way of knowing if I was doing the right things or knowing if any of this was actually going to work. And at that point, the tracking was not even actually just a habit throughout the day. It was like a security. It was something to fall back onto. That is just how it felt. But instead of counting and tracking all of these things, I completely changed my entire approach to dieting and nutrition in general. I cut the tracking and I focused on real quality foods that were actually going to fuel my body, my hormones, and get real results. And I changed faster in months, in such a short amount of time, than I ever did in years spent doing the entire other approach of tracking calories and weighing out and measuring everything. As you can see here, this was my physique and this was the meals I was eating versus here. It was an entirely different life and an entirely different feeling. So to kind of summarize everything up, this is what this entire thing really taught me. I was so proud of my discipline that I never once stopped to actually ask myself if I was just being disciplined about the right thing or if I thought being consistent was enough. I kind of just thought that if I stuck to this one thing and worked harder at it and enough at it, the results would eventually pay off. But that is not at all realistic. You can put all of the effort and all of the time in and outside of the gym. But if you have the wrong approach, you aren't going to get anywhere. And you see, being perfect at the wrong strategy is still a way of failing. It just feels productive the entire time you're doing it. So let me leave you with this question that I eventually had to ask myself. What are you currently being disciplined about right now that is not actually working? Because tracking macros was not at all the only thing that I got wrong, not even close. And in the next episode of the Autopsy, I'm going to be explaining something that I did for so much longer and defended even harder than this. It was just absolutely terrible and costed me so much results. And if you're watching this and you are realizing to yourself that you might be doing these things right but still not getting anywhere, that is exactly the problem that I help guys solve. Figuring out what is actually holding you back in your specific situation, not any like generic type of things with your body or your life or anything. Just figuring out what is seriously holding you back from real results and helping you actually get there. If that is you, then you can book a free call that is going to be linked in the description of this video. We'll see if you're a good fit for my 1-to-1 program, but make sure you subscribe for the second episode of the Autopsy. But that is all that I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching.